Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Conduit Coffee's Costa Rica Hacienda Sonora, or as I call it, chocolate caramels. I'm really excited to have this coffee in the box here. I've actually featured the Costa Rica Hacienda Sonora a couple of years ago to readers of the magazine. So some of you have enjoyed coffee from this farm before and roasted by Conduit Coffee. This is a different season, of course, so the coffee's a little bit different. But we had a tour of the Hacienda Sonora in the Coffee Lovers magazine a couple years ago. So it's a lot of fun to be able to showcase their coffee in the Coffee Lovers box. Now, as I said, I call this chocolate caramels. One of the fun things about this coffee is that the beans themselves, the aroma kind of shifts around, but a lot of the times I'm smelling it and I think of candy corn. And I think that's because it has a lot of like sugary, candy sugariness to it. And that's kind of where the caramels come in. There's a lot of chocolatiness to this coffee. My description, aromas of candy corn, tastes of sweet chocolate and sugary bright caramel. It also has this kind of, it definitely has a juiciness to it and a little bit of, like you can get a little bit of hints of fruit in there as well. And I think you could also see that as the caramel. It's kind of one of these coffees that shifts around. It's got a good base of chocolate and sweetness to it. It has this subtlety as well. Very intriguingly, and you may not experience this, I noticed this yesterday as I had a cup of this coffee just kind of sitting around for a while. When this cools off, and I mean really cools down to like where you might typically say, ew, gross, cold coffee. By the way, really great coffee. As it cools down, it still stays really delicious. This coffee just does this fascinating transformation and you get a lot of really intriguing floral flavors, like really interesting. I'm not gonna get into that on the video today because I really have to let the coffee cool down, but I just wanted to make a note of that. If you do happen to have some of this coffee and you kind of let it sit around for a while and cool off, do try it out. Do see if you can find those really intriguing, like rich tastes of flowers. It's fascinating. Okay, so just like the other coffees, I'm gonna go ahead and brew this up. We're gonna taste it and just gonna kind of show you what the experience is all about. So I'll be right back and I'm gonna brew this up on the Kalita Wave. All right, we're back. Now, before we get into tasting this, I just want to talk about the aromas of the coffee a little bit because the aromas of this coffee go through this fascinating transition. Now, I said it at the beginning, when you open the bag and you're smelling the whole bean coffee, it smells really strongly of like candy corn. There's just this really apparent candy sweetness to the aroma. Maybe it's like caramel, something like that. Then the ground coffee, that kind of changes a little bit and really the chocolatiness starts to come out. And then it's almost like you're smelling a bag of like Snickers or something, just because the chocolatey aroma is really up front. You can still kind of smell the candy in the background, that like sugary sweetness, but there's a lot of chocolate. The brewed aroma, that really apparent aroma of sugary sweetness kind of dissipates a little bit. I get a lot of chocolate, but I actually get some like fruit, maybe even like a hint of floral aromas floating around in there. I can still smell the sweetness. I can still actually, like the smooth sugary sweetness. I'd say the aroma of this is just like milk chocolate. Milk chocolate with maybe some other kind of subtle things floating around there. Yeah, in the cup it smells smooth and chocolatey and sweet. Oh yeah, chocolatiness, caramel, sugary sweetness, and then intriguing juiciness. And there's almost fruit. It's like a fruit-like juiciness, but I can't really point to a fruit as the taste. It's still sugary sweetness. It's still like caramel sweetness, and it's still chocolate. It's so sweet. I'd almost think I accidentally put sugar in this cup. Wow, that's good. As I said, I brew this on the Kalita Wave. I say this for all the coffees. You can brew these coffees any way that you like. The Kalita is just what I typically use when I'm brewing at home for myself. Sometimes I use an auto drip machine. You could also make this as espresso. You could use a stovetop. You could use a French press. All these coffees are going to be delicious no matter how you prepare them. Of course, other methods will tend to highlight different things, like the French press is going to be deeper and richer. As it just kind of cools off slightly in the cup, the caramel really starts to come out. There's like this brightness to it that's really delicious, but the chocolate still stays there. And then, as I said, as it really cools off, yesterday I noticed some really fascinating floral elements to the coffee that I'm just not tasting right now, and that's just fine. That's why I don't have it. I don't have it as my description. Conduit's description of this coffee: from start to finish, the cup is sweet and juicy with full butterscotch and chocolate body. It's not really like a component I think you're typically gonna find as you're enjoying this coffee. But if you happen to let it cool, I'd be interested to hear if you discover that fascinating sort of taste of flowers. Another delicious coffee. So that is Conduit Coffee's Costa Rica Hacienda Sonora, or as I call it, chocolate caramels. You can get this coffee along with the other two in this month's Coffee Lovers box. Please do be sure to order by November 3rd. That's Friday, November 3rd, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. That's the last time you can place your order for this month's Coffee Lovers box. At that point, all the coffee will be roasted and all the boxes will be packaged and shipped the next week. I do that, of course, to make sure that you receive this coffee and the others at their freshest. You can get a single Coffee Lovers box for $22 and shipping is free. You can save a little bit and subscribe for $20 a month. If you have any questions, please do feel free to email me. It's joseph@coffeeloversmag.com. If you're on the order page for the Coffee Lovers box, in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a little chat box. Just hit that, leave me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and go order your Coffee Lovers box.